Okay guys, so this video is going to show you how to solve the question or the topic, finding the slope and y-intercept of a line given its equation in the form y equals mx plus b. So this is really simple. A lot of the times people get really confused by this and they're like, what is that? And they just shut down. So this is the equation of a line. So this is what you're going to see most of the time when someone gives you an equation of a line. This is what they're going to give you. And it's going to usually be in this format. There's other formats you can do, but this is the most common. So that is y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to explain this real quick. For this, y and x are just variables, meaning they're just letters that will always be there. And every time you see this, there will be a y, there will be an x. And those are just going to be letters. Now, the m and the b will not just be there, okay? They're going to be something else. They're going to be numbers. And the m and the b stand for something. So the m is the slope and the b is the y-intercept. So just a quick explanation of what exactly that means. So if you have your graph, right, and you have a line, your slope is saying what is the steepness of this line. Sometimes your slope will look like this. It'll go down. Sometimes your slope will be just straight up and down. Sometimes it'll be just left and right. It can go in tons of different ways. But the slope describes the distance between 2 points. So let's say you have a point here on your line, your point here on the line. It's going to tell you how far does it go up and how far does it go over. And that is going to be consistent. So that is something you really don't need to get too far into right now, but that's what the slope is of a line. Now, the y-intercept is really easy and really specific. So let me just go back and say, okay, this is my line. I'm going to do it in red this time. Let's say that my line is right here. Okay. So, in case you forgot, your graph has an x and y axis. So this is your x-axis and this is your y-axis. Actually, let me do my line a different way. So I'm going to put my line, I'm going to do it over here. Okay, so the y-intercept is saying at what point does your line cross this y-intercept. So this is your line right here, right? Your y line, this is your y-intercept. At what point on this line does it cross? For examples, it would be right here. But exactly where on that line, what number does it cross? So that is really just explaining really quickly what the y-intercept is. Some of you guys are like, oh my gosh, get to answering the question. I know, whatever. So when you get to this question, right, it's going to give you y equals mx plus b. So over here you have y equals negative 4x minus 1. Now, like we said, the y and the x are just there, okay? And then you have your slope and your y-intercept. So I'm going to highlight your slope in green. So I'm going to say that. So your slope is always connected to, it's always right next to being multiplied by your x. So if you want to find the slope, find out where your x is, right? And then the number that's connected to it is your slope. So that's where that is right there. So that is negative 4. So your slope of your line, m, or slope, is going to equal negative 4. Okay? Now, your b, your y-intercept, is over here. This is always going to be plus or something extra in addition to your slope that you have. So it's always going to be by itself. So if you look at here, you have this part, right? And you have this part. So this is your slope and your x. But then you have this part by itself. This is your -1. This is going to be your y-intercept. So your b, or your y-intercept, is -1. Now, it's not always going to be plus, right? It can be negative. Sometimes it'll be plus, sometimes it'll be negative, but it will always be by itself. It won't be multiplied by anything else. It'll just be a little lone dude off to the side, okay? So if you have it in this order where it's y equals mx plus b, which I think for these questions it will, but not always in the way that you see them. Whatever is connected to the x is your slope, and whatever is off to the side by itself is your y-intercept. So that is all you need to know for this question. For those that didn't really want the explanation as to what the slope and the y-intercept was, I'm sorry, but you got it anyway. All right,